stripped of all his royal titles. Next up, from the UK, we now go to the US, where that is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein along with the President of United States. There have been thousands of references to Donald Trump. There are a range of uncorroborated stories. Donald Trump and White House have dismissed all those allegations, but thousands of references point and indicate that there could be more than what these files seem to indicate. Possibly there's more in the files that haven't come out. In the US, there's another big name that has come out, Elon Musk. His name also shows up, and the latest release is that email exchanges took place between Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein in 2012 and 2013. And in fact, they discussed visiting Jeffrey Epstein's island several times as well. Did he go or not is still unknown. The emails do not seem to indicate that. But the discussion of a possible visit to Jeffrey Epstein's island, the one where all those misdemeanors happened, was mentioned in those emails. Next up, we now move to Israel, where you see former Prime Minister Ehud Barak, who's also now in the dock. His name has surfaced repeatedly in documents that, and it indicates that the two were actually in contact, that is Barak and Epstein. They were in contact not for just a couple of times, but probably for years. He says that he never observed any inappropriate behavior whatsoever on part of Jeffrey Epstein. As I said, this is how the situation looks right now. There are still more documents that are yet to be released, and who knows how the picture changes then. Jack Lang, let's get you another name, former minister in France. As I said, this is a global story. You can see across the board, country after country, where you are seeing names surfacing, and all powerful people. Former minister, former prime minister, former royalty, all of them in the dock. Allegation against him was that past financial links with Jeffrey Epstein, and that meant that he quit a plum job due to those ties. Is that good enough? Is that enough accountability? Well, those are questions that British people are asking, and the British public is asking these people.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Stories that define the day from every corner of the planet. That's right. I'm Arjun, Samar, and Mahendran, and well, it's the Thursday edition of the World Report. First up, viewers, let's take a look at the latest updates coming in from the West Asia conflict. Government supporters across Iran held rallies on Wednesday, waving Iranian flags and carrying pictures of Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini as they pledged allegiance to the country's new supreme leader. The rally comes amid a US blockade on Iranian ports following 5 weeks of intense bombardment. The blockade is aimed at putting economic pressure on Iran to sign an agreement with the US by choking off its vital oil exports. Meanwhile, we get you the word from the streets.
جنگ اقتصادی خب سال‌هاست داریم مقاومت می‌کنیم. بیش از 18-19 ساله داریم مقاومت می‌کنیم و چیز جدیدی نیست و اینا میگم در قالب همون بازی رسانه‌ایه که بیان بگن آره ما هم یه موفقیتی تونستیم به دست بیاریم. آره خب اگه قرار باشه با این حرفا که بگن نظام اقتصاد ایران فرو پاشیده. خب قبلا هم از این دروغا گفتن نیرو دریایی ایران نابود شده، پدافند ایران نابود شده و نیرو موشکیش خب ما تو میدون چیز دیگه دیدیم.
US President Donald Trump says Washington's blockade of Iranian ports has been a success and he's urged Tehran to just give up. Meanwhile, the standoff in the Strait of Hormuz has pushed global oil prices above $120 per barrel, with average petrol prices in the US hitting a 4-year high. After residents from Beirut were displaced for the second time in less than 2 months, the United Nations has held a press conference briefing reiterating that the humanitarian situation in Lebanon continues to be fragile and volatile. UN spokesperson has said that the displacements are disproportionately affecting women and children, adding that risks of gender-based violence also remains high. Now, the sharp escalation in violence has reversed recent food security gains and has also pushed the country back into crisis, with 1.24 million people expected to face food insecurity shortly. We get you more.
Turning to Lebanon, our humanitarian colleagues tell us that the situation in that country continues to be fragile and volatile, given the continuing insecurity, especially in the southern part of Lebanon. Lebanese authorities report that 3 civil defense rescue workers were killed in the southern part of the country when 2 strikes hit a building in Tyre district.
The Israeli military has released videos of what it says are strikes on Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. In a statement on its website, the army stated that around 20 targets were hit, including weapon depots and operational sites. According to Lebanon's health ministry, more than 2,500 people have in fact been killed and nearly 8,000 wounded since the conflict began. This while Israel says around 1,800 Hezbollah fighters are among the dead. However, and a big however here, the footage could not be independently verified. Meanwhile, strikes have also continued despite a ceasefire, with near-daily strikes continuing as we get you this broadcast. Speaking of the Hezbollah, well, it has released videos that it says shows drone strikes against Israeli troops in southern Lebanon. The militant group claimed one of the videos shows an attack in the Tabe village against a group of soldiers, followed by another drone attack during evacuation of injured Israeli military. Tensions are rising in Israel as ultra-Orthodox Jewish men have taken to the streets protesting the country's controversial military draft law, the Haredi draft law as it's called. You see, clashes broke out in Jerusalem where police used stun grenades to disperse crowds, blocking roads and the light rail network as well. The unrest was triggered by the arrest of yeshiva students accused of evading military service. Prime Minister Netanyahu has condemned the protests as wild and violent after demonstrators stormed a military commander's residence. This comes as pressure mounts ahead of the upcoming elections in October. We get you more.
המחאה הזאת נגד הגיוס, לא ייתכן מה שעושים לבחורי ישיבה כמו אחרוני העבריינים. אנחנו לא אחרוני העבריינים, לא עשינו שום דבר נגד החוק, אנחנו סך הכל רוצים לשבת וללמוד תורה.
And well, now we shift our gaze to the US, where for 5 hours on Wednesday on Capitol Hill, Donald Trump's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth sat across from lawmakers who wanted answers about America's war in Iran. And let me remind you, they were not polite about that. Democrats called the war a quagmire. They accused Hegseth of lying to the public. They demanded to know why the Army's top general was fired by text in the middle of the conflict and told the secretary point blank to resign. Now, you see, US gas prices are up 40%. $25 billion have been spent already. Iran is still refusing to give up its nuclear program. And well, as for Trump's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, he's still insisting through all of it that the mission is a stunning success. Here's a report.
Immediately.
Pete Hegseth came in swinging. He called congressional critics the biggest adversary America faces. But the Democrats came in swinging harder.
The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans.
Representative John Garamendi of California didn't wait long to respond.
Secretary Hegseth, you have been lying to the American public about this war from day one, and so has the President. You have misled the public about why we are at war. You and the President have offered ever-changing reasons for this war.
The sharpest moment came when Democrats caught Hegseth in a contradiction over why America went to war in the first place.
We had to start this war, you just said, 60 days ago, because the nuclear weapon was an imminent threat. Now you're saying that it was completely obliterated?
They had not given up their nuclear ambitions, and they had a conventional shield of thousands
so
of missiles.
Operation Midnight
They're at the
Hammer
weakest
accomplished
moment.
nothing of substance. It
No, you're
left us
missing-
at
you're
exactly
missing
the
the
same
point.
place we were before.
Then came the gas price ambush. Representative Maggie Goulander with a number Hegseth did not have.
Much higher in California.
Mr. Hegseth, can I ask you, do you know what the average cost of a gallon of gas was in this country on February 28th?
Well, it depends on where you live. If you live in California, it's $8.
$2.83. Do you know what the average cost of a gallon of gas is today?
Much higher in California.
$4.23. I gotta say, Mr. Hegseth, you said you've got a crack economic team that's looking at the impacts of this war on the American taxpayer, and you can't answer this basic question. That should shock the conscience of every American.
How is this
Representative Seth Bolton delivered the line of the day on the Strait of Hormuz.
They blockaded their blockade. So they blockaded us, and then we blockaded their blockade. That's like saying, tag, you're it.
Democrats also pressed Hegseth on firing General Randy George, the Army's top officer, and got nothing.
the
So you
same
think General
officers that were
George
there.
destroyed a culture?
There are many, we've
I
gotten rid
guess
of
it
many
just looks
general
to me
officers
as
in
if
this
you're
administration
you
because
have
we
no
need new
answers,
leadership.
Or you have no way of explaining why you fired one of the most decorated and remarkable men who's
We
ever
needed
served
new
this
leadership.
nation.
But not every voice in the room was hostile. Republican Nancy Mace of South Carolina offered a different verdict entirely.
We have never seen a secretary at the Department of War who has been as innovative as you have. So I can't say enough good things about you right now. I was impressed.
5 hours, $25 billion, gas at $4.23 a gallon. And a defense secretary who still won't say why he fired the Army's top general. Hegseth might have survived Wednesday's battle, but the war to retain his position seems only to be beginning. Well, that one central question you might be asking after seeing that earlier report is all well inside Team Trump? Or is there a silent split right at the top? You know, these questions are buzzing in Washington as much as they're buzzing world over. Because behind the war rhetoric, a different battle may very well be unfolding inside the White House itself. You see, according to a new report, US Vice President J.D. Vance is worried that his boss Donald Trump may not be getting told the truth about the Iran war. That's right, now the truth about the battlefield losses and America's depleting missile stockpiles as well. What has Vance done? Well, now Vance hasn't taken any names, because according to the report, most of his doubts are in fact aimed at the Pentagon and US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, whose testimony, in fact, we just showed you. Here's the full report.
Is Donald Trump being shown the full reality of the Iran war? Or just a polished version of it? A carefully curated victory reel? These questions are echoing inside the Trump administration, courtesy J.D. Vance. The US Vice President has been raising red flags of late. In closed-door meetings, Vance has repeatedly asked some tough questions. Questions on whether the Pentagon is presenting a rosy picture of the war to the president. The report says Vance's concerns boil down to 3 big questions. 1. Is the US burning through weapons faster than it admits? 2. Are missile reserves already depleted for future conflicts? And 3. Could this war weaken America against China, Russia, or North Korea in the future? The report says Vance hasn't directly accused anyone. He hasn't taken any names. But the spotlight is on the US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Because publicly, Hegseth's messaging on the war is very different.
America's will is unshakable, our capabilities unmatched. Our blockade is only growing and going global.
You see, Hegseth, along with top generals, has insisted Iran's military has been severely degraded, US stockpiles remain robust, and America is firmly in control. But the insiders suggest something else, that the briefings may be too positive and the messaging may be carefully curated. In fact, one former official says Hegseth knows exactly how to talk to Trump and possibly what Trump wants to hear. The assessment isn't off mark, but the ground picture tells a different story. Despite claims of decimation, Iran holds 2/3 of its air force, key missile capabilities, and a naval strength in the Gulf. Meanwhile, US assessments suggest that the country's critical munitions may already have been more than half depleted. So the bigger question here isn't just about Iran, it's about information. Is Trump getting the truth or just a narrative? Is he getting the real picture or just a filtered perspective? And above all, is all well inside Team Trump or is there a split right at the top? Bureau Report, NDTV World.
A high-stakes phone call between Russia's President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump has put global focus back on Ukraine amid rising geopolitical tensions. That's right. Now, according to the Kremlin, the 90-minute conversation was frank and businesslike, with Putin expressing support to Trump after the assassination attempt and condemning all forms of politically motivated violence. Now, you see, the two leaders also discussed Iran, with Moscow warning that any ground operation would be, in fact, dangerous and unacceptable. On Ukraine, both leaders have criticized Kyiv's strategy, claiming it is prolonging the war, while Putin proposed a temporary ceasefire around Victory Day, a move that has been welcomed by Trump. Here's more.
Общение президентов велось в дружеском ключе, было откровенным и деловым. Вполне понятно, что Владимир Путин первым делом высказал слова поддержки президенту США в связи с попыткой покушения на него 25 апреля в гостинице «Вашингтон Хилтон». К счастью, ни сам Дональд Трамп.
Nepal's national carrier, Nepal Airlines, has issued an apology after a social media post triggered a map row over the incorrect depiction of Indian territory. The airline had shared a route map that just wrongly showed Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as parts of Pakistan, sparking massive online backlash and calls for a diplomatic action. In a statement, Nepal Airlines has cited cartographic inaccuracies and has removed the post. The company has since launched an internal review saying that the map did not reflect Nepal's official stance. The incident has once again highlighted sensitivities around regional boundary disputes. Over in Pakistan, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the ongoing US-Iran conflict has dealt a serious blow to the country's economic recovery. Speaking at a cabinet meeting, he revealed that Pakistan's oil import bill has just jumped from $300 million to a whopping $800 million. This has put fresh pressure on Pakistan's economy. He also said a government task force is monitoring the crisis daily, while calling for collective efforts to manage the fallout. He also highlighted Pakistan's diplomatic role in mediating the US-Iran talks held in Islamabad. He expressed hope that the conflict will end soon as ceasefire discussions remain ongoing. Take it to the UK, where two Jewish men were stabbed and injured on a London street on the 29th of April in what police are calling an act of terror. That's right, cops have arrested a 45-year-old man on suspicion of attempted murder in this latest anti-Semitic attack. In response to this, PM Keir Starmer has held a meeting of the government's emergency committee and has vowed to deal with the roots of anti-Semitism and extremism. Now, according to the Met Police, the attack in the Golders Green area has left two men, aged 34 and 76, hospitalized with knife wounds. Listen in.
Well, the government is taking action in relation to security, cohesion, extremism, but of course, it's our responsibility to coordinate the immediate response here to this appalling attack, to ensure security is in place, to take other measures. I'm holding a meeting tomorrow with the criminal justice agencies to make sure that we can have effective and swift justice in these cases.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani on Wednesday said that if he were to speak with King Charles III separately of an event honouring the victims of 9/11, well, he would probably encourage the king to return the Koh-I-Noor diamond. You see, Mamdani made the comments when pressed by a reporter ahead of King Charles and Queen Camilla's visit to the site of the September 11 attacks in New York on Wednesday. The very first visit to the city by a reigning British monarch in 16 long years. Mamdani said he hoped to keep the events focused on 9/11 victims and not pursue a political conversation, but added he would ask for the diamond to be returned if he were to speak to King Charles under different circumstances. We get you that exchange.
A moment to chat with King Charles today down at the World Trade Center Memorial. How do you view your role as mayor? Do you see it as being sort of a polite, diplomatic moment? You just say hello and welcome, or is there anything else you would say to him? Do you have a specific message you might want to deliver?
I'll be saying that today I'll be attending a wreath laying alongside a number of other elected officials, including Governor Hochul, Governor Sherrill, and the focus of that wreath laying is to honor the more than 3,000 New Yorkers who were killed in the horrific terror attacks of September 11th. And that's what I'm really looking to do at that event.
So you haven't thought about anything you might say if you say hello to him and he stops to chat?
You know, if I was to speak to the king separately from that, I would probably encourage him to return the Koh-I-Noor diamond.
Well, with that, it's time we submit to a short break. Viewers, news and updates continue on the other side.
Cancer's unfair, and it can affect your finances too. But Macmillan Support is just a free call away. If you're struggling with bills, need help claiming benefits, not sure how to get free prescriptions, or just want to share your worries, our specialist advisors are here for you right now, with confidential advice on benefits and help with how to claim. Whoever you are, whatever you're going through, we're here. Call us now on 0808 304 5000.
You want broadband that does more than keep up, so switch to EE, the UK's fastest growing broadband provider today, and get ultra-reliable full fibre for only $28.99 a month, so nothing gets in the way of your browsing, gaming or working. And EE is the only major provider who'll give you up to £300 to switch.
Hey chicken, just thought I'd send you a little voice note. Good luck with the lecture. Let me know what you wore in the end. I miss you. Bye.
What have I done here? Delicate? What's a delicate? I'll call my dad. Yeah. He'll know.
All right, love.
Hey, Dad. Hi. Wait, come on up.
Switch your family's plans to Vodafone and get additional unlimited plans from £16 per month.
Mr. Q. At Mr. Q Bingo, we tell it how it is. When players win, they love Q. When players lose, they hate Q. Oh dear. They love Q. Oh, he's not happy. They hate Q. Oh, love Q. Hate Q. Love Q. Oh no, hate Q. It'll grow back. Mr. Q, bingo you love to hate. We kind of love that.
Sell in all the places with Shopify. Online, in person, and across socials. And track every cha-ching all in one place. When it's time to sell everywhere, it's time for Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Fire up the Barbie with Aldi and feed 4 for under £6.50. That's flipping amazing.
Right now, terrible things are happening to donkeys. They work all day in the blistering sun without food or water. They're suffering silently while their backs are breaking. Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. But the worst thing you can do to a donkey isn't to break its body. It's to break its heart. Because donkeys are loyal, loving creatures. They trust us to care for them. And when they're hurt and abused, they feel it inside too. But right now, you can do something incredible for donkeys. You can support the Donkey Sanctuary. Just call 0800 035 9318 and give £2 a month. Because your support can help protect donkeys. You can help us to treat the sick and the injured. You'll help to mend broken hearts so that they can learn to love and trust again. Right now, so many working donkeys around the world are suffering. But we can only be there for them with your help. So please, call 0800 035 9318 or text HEART7 to 78866 and give £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
That's a beautiful cover drive. He's found the gap. That'll run away before.
Send money like a pro with Remitly, the reliable, secure, and fast way to transfer money.
We have a range of funeral plans with up to £250 off. However you choose to say goodbye, we help you own it.
Welcome back, viewers. In a rare move, Argentina President Javier Milei appeared before the Congress alongside his chief of cabinet, backing him amid a corruption probe. Mario Nadoni is under investigation for alleged illicit enrichment, with authorities examining gaps between his declared assets and spending. Nadoni has denied the charges and says he will defend himself in court. Now, the controversy has hit the government's image, with approval ratings falling sharply. The issue adds to growing concerns in Argentina over corruption and economic uncertainty. Listen in.
El Estado Nacional no registra ningún pago de costos sobre mis viajes personales y es por eso que informé siempre el carácter privado y propio de mis erogaciones. Las manifestaciones que se realizaron públicamente relativas al costeo por terceros de los viajes son tendenciosas y falsas. Pretenden dar por probada mediáticamente una hipótesis incorrecta.
An Australian inquiry into rising anti-Semitism has recommended prioritizing stricter gun laws following a deadly attack at a Hanukkah gathering at Sydney last year. The interim report, led by Commissioner Virginia Bell, it outlines 14 recommendations, including nationally consistent gun laws and a possible buyback scheme even. PM Anthony Albanese, meanwhile, has said that the government will adopt the recommendations aimed at strengthening counter-terror response and preventing future attacks. We get you more.
This is, as the government envisaged, that the first task of the Royal Commission, the priority was to look at the security elements of these issues. I can confirm that the National Security Committee has met this morning and we have adopted and will implement all the recommendations of the interim report that are relevant to the Commonwealth.
A New Zealand court has rejected an appeal by the Christchurch mosque gunman to withdraw his guilty pleas, reaffirming his convictions for one of the country's deadliest attacks. You see, Brenton Tarrant, who killed 51 worshippers in the 2019 shootings, he'd argued that the harsh prison conditions and poor mental health influenced his decision to plead guilty. However, judges ruled that his claims were unsupported and inconsistent. Noting the evidence against him, well, it was overwhelming to say the least. The decision means that his original guilty pleas stand and avoids the possibility of a retrial that victims' families had feared could very well reopen trauma. Take you over to Indonesia, which is stepping up its crackdown on social media use among minors, urging platforms to publicly report the number of accounts suspended under the new child safety rules. The regulation, introduced in March, bans children under 16 from accessing platforms that may expose them to harmful content, including cyberbullying, scams, and addiction risks as well. Authorities say young users in the country spend up to 8 hours a day online. TikTok, meanwhile, has become the first major platform to show compliance, reporting the removal of 1.7 million underage accounts. Other platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, and Insta, have also pledged action but are yet to share full data. Gaming platform Roblox remains the only major service yet to agree to the restrictions. Indonesia's move follows similar steps in countries like Australia as global concern grows over children's exposure to unregulated digital content.
Teknologi, kita nggak mau mengarah kepada harus pakai teknologi A atau harus pakai teknologi B. Karena kita tahu teknologi juga akan berkembang pesat. Tapi si platform bertanggung jawab untuk menentukan teknologi yang terbaik dan paling tepat untuk platformnya.
Italy is celebrating the return of over 300 artifacts from the US that were looted and recovered as a result of a criminal investigation. That's right, the artifacts, mainly Roman and Etruscan statues, vases and gold coins, were displayed in Rome to mark the results of the cooperation between the two countries. Italy has spent decades trying to curb a rampant trade in illicitly excavated antiquities, securing the repatriation of thousands of artifacts worth tens of millions of euros till date. We get you more.
Today's exhibition features more than 300 objects from the Roman and Etruscan periods, which brings this true legacy to life. I know in America we only have 250 years of artifacts and even thousands, but there's no better country to be a partner with.
Russia is set to hold a scaled-down victory parade this year, marking significant departure from tradition. Rehearsals are underway in Moscow, but officials say no military equipment will be displayed during the May 9 celebrations at Red Square, which, by the way, is a major break from tradition. Authorities have further cited that the current operational status, as Russia's war in Ukraine continues, as the reason behind this decision to be made. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. Viewers, news and updates continue on the other side.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Stories that define the day from every corner of